And now we have finally reached our final topic of the day. Today we will be closing by discussing the lengths that companies will go in order to hide their waste and hide their chemical byproducts from the general public. First, we will be discussing the actions done by hydraulic fracturing companies and the way that their actions are affecting both people and the environment. And before we begin discussing the negative impacts that these hydraulic companies have, let me briefly explain what these companies do. And so what these chemicals do is that they tap into natural gas reserves using a process known as hydraulic fractioning, in which a solution of chemicals is pumped down into a well and into a deposit of fossil rock under pressures high enough to cause a crack to form. And through these cracks, oil can then flow up into the wellbore. Some serious problems with this process are that these companies inject millions of gallons of hazardous chemicals into these wells, even though it is possible for this to contaminate underground sources of drinking water. Reports show that companies use hundreds of carcinogens and pollutants such as lead and benzene, which are regulated under the Safety Drinking Water Act. And these same contaminants put into these wells remain in the fluid once it comes back to the surface. And what's worse is that the wastewaters produced from this process containing these chemicals are often sent to treatment plants not designed to fully treat such wastewater to be discharged into rivers. Now here is a real testimony of a woman expressing the fear and suffering that these companies have issued upon her life.
My name is Sharon Daggett. I live in the town of Poultney. I'm right across the road from the well that Chesapeake Gas Company is applied to store hydrofracking waste liquid. My concerns are I'm scared to death of the salt and the chemicals that they're going to proposing to put in the ground in the Bergstresser well right next door. They won't even tell us what all the chemicals are because it's a company secret for the formula that they use to hydrofrack to get the gas out of the stone, out of the shale. I'm afraid for our vineyard and the vines dying because of the salt in the ground and the chemicals. I'm afraid of our water, our drinking water from our well. We all have dug and drilled wells around here. I'm afraid of these fluids going through any fracture and getting into Keuka Lake and polluting the whole lake, which in turn goes to other lakes, Cayuga, Seneca, all the lakes in New York State. It's a scary proposition, and I'm not sure that anybody wants this.
Another example of polluters trying to cover up their pollution is shown in this very picture. It is possible to see that the pipes have been camouflaged to look like natural rock structures, but it is clear that they are actually spewing hot streams of toxins over stretches of the ocean floor. These pipes were built by producers in a remote location south of the Galapagos Islands, and these toxins are being released at least 1,000 miles away from the nearest piece of land, indicating that there was a great desire to keep these pollutions hidden from the public eye. The waste stream produced from these pipes was so corrosive that once a submersible chemical analysis probe was inserted into the fluid, it was completely eaten away by chemical reactions. Also, this pollution has caused several genetic mutations in many sea creatures living near the dumping site, so as you can tell, it's very dangerous to this ecosystem. So what exactly did these last two examples really show us? They showed us that the bottom line is that even though technologies are currently being used to reduce the amount of chemical byproducts and eliminate the impact they have on the environment, there are still numerous cases worldwide in which nothing is being done to stop these chemical byproducts from damaging the environment and organisms that live in them. It is evident that much more needs to be done in our society in order to properly dispose of these byproducts and to make the earth a much greener place.